to the left, to the right. Put your hands up to the sky. Put your hands up to the sky. To the left, to the right. Put your hands up to the sky. Put your hands up to the sky. To the left, to the right. Put your hands up to the sky. To the left, to the right. Put your hands up to the sky. To the left, to the right. Put your hands up to the sky. To the left, to the right. Put your hands up to the sky. To the left, to the right. Put your hands up to the sky. Put your hands up to the sky. To the left, to the right. Put your hands up to the sky. Put your hands up to the sky. To the left, to the right. Put your hands up to the sky. To the left, to the right. Put your hands up to the sky. To the left, to the right. Put your hands up to the sky. To the left, to the right. Put your hands up to the sky.
Wicked vibration.
Nobody in your city gang bang like you do. The bodies on your gat ain't real like voodoo. Mount Rushmore got more bodies than you do. The bodies on your gat ain't real like voodoo.
Nobody in your city gang bang like you do. The bodies that you get ain't real like voodoo.
Wow, who knew?
Mount Rushmore got more bodies than you do.
Mount Rushmore, the bodies on your gat ain't real like voodoo. You say you real, you claim you street, you lie. Your gun don't bang, it's geek, no some say you real, you claim you street, you lie. Your gun don't bang, it's geek, no some say you real, you claim you street, you lie. Your gun don't bang, it's geek, no some say you real, you claim you street, you lie. Your gun don't bang, it's geek, no some bodies on your gat ain't bodies on your gat.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this second game of the day, rather late into the day as well. Group A, match 23 versus, well, with Joe's versus Unorthodox. And before the game even starts, I'd like to tell you that these names are highly appreciated from me, as some of the names that we've seen in this tournament so far are quite inconvenient to say, pronounce, and find in people's names, and they sometimes change them mid-game, but we do have some typical names here, and we have a typical match ban coming in here on Lake, banned by Unorthodox. It's a typical ban, and it's a very safe ban for the most part. I'd like to remind you all, if you haven't already discovered already from that intro, that this is Ontario Esports Federation. It's the opening tournament of our 2v2 Wingman, with a final cash prize of $100 coming to both of the players on one team. I'm sure that it's a better deal for most people than having to split a whole bunch of money between 5 people. It's mutually beneficial, and there's no entry fee coming in this time around. We do have a train pick, which is quite unseen thus far in the tournament. And since we had a cross-religious matchup last game with a Catholic school facing a public school, I'm not too sure what the religious affiliations of these two teams be. They might be both Buddhist, for all I know. But I wish them both well in whatever respective denominations they fall under. We have 3 seconds coming into game time here as Unorthodox versus the Joes is starting up and on its way. Classic P250 buys coming from both of the members of Unorthodox here as the CTs buy safe armor buys, and now they're going to be rushing out onto the site. A little bit hard for the CTs to hold this one particularly, as both of the CTs have to hold these long-range angles against rushing Ts, and these bomb trains will serve as a little bit of a difficulty for for these CTs as the Ts can jump in and out of them, but one of the CTs getting an early pick, and Antarctica doesn't know what to do here. He was a little bit flustered by that kill, and now it's just a 2v1 situation. Both of the CTs know exactly where this T is, and Antarctica tries the wide peek, but a nice clean shot by Sprite as the Joes take this early 1-0 lead on train, and just so happens that they can buy extra long-range rifles for this next round. It's going to be proceedingly or foreseedingly difficult for these Ts to take up any more rounds after that, but see what they buy. Both SMGs coming from everybody but Europe. They're going to be trying an Ivy push here, but it looks like Sprite has ideas of his own. Pushed up a little bit further into Ivy than usually seen, but he's still going to hold this from a close enough angle to where he's going to be safe for the most part. Antarctica and Europe none the wiser, but they might peek this angle just in time, and the MP9 wipes out one and the other one. It looks like he had auto pickup on Europe as he tried to pick up that gun, but he just couldn't fire it off in time as Sprite taking out both players. It looked to me like Europe had auto pickup on. I've never seen that thus far in this tournament, but nevertheless, they're going to be buying one SMG from Antarctica, as he did buy last round another SMG coming from Europe, so Sprite and Ostrich coming up against some questionable opposition with the weaponry. Only one long-range rifle coming out here, and it is in a rather appropriate position as he can watch all three angles from this part. I don't think he's suspecting an Ivy push right off the bat, and that's because the Ts haven't revealed themselves quite yet. Antarctica and Europe about to reveal themselves, though. Og scoped in at the wrong time, but he just recovers in time. Europe throwing that flash in. And Sprite returning with a flash of his own as the Ts try to push up all the way up Ivy, but that flash affects Europe way too much, and he drops almost instantly. Mac 10 almost dying to that USP, but Ostrich helps him out as the Joes leading 3-0 against Unorthodox. The Ts just can't seem to use any utility against the CTs. That works, as that flash that came in from the T side got countered instantly by Ostrich's flash himself. And the T's coming out with another SMG buy. They can't seem to manage up any rifles this time around, although Europe had plenty of money to buy one. I'm assuming that those rifles are going to be coming in at desperate times and situations. Sprite knocking Europe down to only 8 of his HP as he didn't even buy armor that time around. Antarctica trying to span through the smoke. He gets shot through the smoke himself. Sprite just guessing where the enemy was, and he got him right through. There's no guns for them to pick up as no AKs were being bought on the T side. T's coming in here with no kills, and Antarctica has uneven money as opposed to his teammate. Literally, Europe has $7,000. We'll see what he does with it. First AK of the game, I believe, coming in from Europe, and we're going to be having some competition coming in here. But just a measly scout may not be enough to counter that Og. They're going to have to do something here. They might choose to fall back as that smoked off position isn't going to fare well for them. Antarctica and Europe having to reposition and find a different way onto this bomb site. The CTs just know where they are at this point. You can only suspect from a couple angles, although the Ts are walking. Let's see if they walk down this ladder, however. They seem to be walking down this ladder quite efficiently. Ostrich none the wiser. Europe could get the extra footing on him here, but E-Box just holding him off, and Ostrich did not see him when he peeked out, but he does now. Europe gets the first kill of his team, and the other CT is holding from Ivy, but Sprite ever so deadly with that Og, and he gets taken out by the Ts as they win their first round of this map. Antarctica and Europe coming up with some slow plays, and Europe just drilling through the defense here as CTs were caught off guard at the wrong time. Playing slow wasn't to their advantage. Antarctica not upgrading that scout, but it doesn't look like he could anyways, as the utility was just a little bit more important to him. Now the CT's a little bit flustered, but it shouldn't affect them at least too much. Now Ostrich, knowing that they might capitalize off of their previous gains. Europe just holding on to the ladder, but that's at the wrong time as Ostrich holding down this hawk dog position, and he almost gets the second one, but Antarctica just recovers. I believe Europe got stuck on the ladder there. He couldn't react in time, but Sprite slow peeking with that up, down pop dog, and he just finds his head as the Joes winning 5-1 so far in this train game would have noticed. Is that Antarctica and Europe tried capitalizing on that pop dog win, but they just couldn't get it in time. A little bit late to the buy here as he's buying a Deagle with full nades and full armor, and teammate once again with the lopsided buy. Europe buying that AK, and once again this overpowered position from Sprite. He can hold all three of these angles, but he doesn't know which one they are coming from. One T coming from Pop Dog. He gets drilled in the face trying to walk down that ladder. Once again, it didn't look like he was walking down it, so he made a lot of noise trying to get that entry. Europe knows that one might be to his right, but he doesn't know where Sprite's going to be. So he's going to be pushing out. Just gets killed by that rather early peek by the CT coming in here in the Unorthodox, sorry. Just getting wiped out wherever they peak. They got a little bit lucky with those two picks on the CTs as they caught them off guard, but Unorthodox just can't seem to find any openings, and now it is the last round of this half. Let's see if they can do something with it. Europe and Antarctica trying to push this Ivy position. One flash coming in. Sprite just finds his shoulder, and now it's down to a 2v1 situation once again. Flash coming in here into Ivy, and now Sprite just knows exactly where he is. Now if Antarctica has to rotate, it's going to be a really long rotate, and Ostrich about to go on the flank, but it doesn't really matter as Sprite takes out Antarctica to finish off this half. We are ending this half 7-1, with Sprite dominating with that op in that triple peak position.
He sees in black or white, never felt the warmth of a cold night. Captive that she left behind, shackled to a love lost. What we were will soon be gone and forgotten when our days are still.
With 1 minute and 11 coming into this game, it's a little bit of a tough situation for Unorthodox. They came into this tournament with legible names, and yet they can't get any legible kills here, which is quite unfortunate, as I was looking forward to this T-side train action coming in here. And just as a friendly reminder, this tournament is just in its beginning stages, as we are still in the group stages of this tournament, and so we can expect some rather fun group action, some rather exciting group action. It looks like we have some Joe's fans in the comment section, rather the chat, and we are starting this half with some supports for the Joes, although I don't think they'll be needing it quite too much, as they are winning 7-1 going into this half. CTs still sitting idle with their $800. They aren't going to get this early peak, and it doesn't look like they're buying much. Antarctica looking at his teammate, not knowing if he's alive or not, and Sprite and Ostrich getting this early positioning. CTs were just falling asleep in their spawn, and now Sprite, they closed the distance in between the CTs as they weren't awake for when the round started, and they're going to pay for it. I'm at a loss for words. Unorthodox AFK in their spawn, and they just get steamrolled by the Joes. You cannot allow those Glocks to come up close and personal against you. So they're going to be fighting for their lives in this next round. Europe and Antarctica having to gather up something to fight against these Ts this time around. Flash coming in here from Antarctica, trying to peek off of it, but the Ts were not there yet as the Ts decide to take their time this time around. Sprite and his teammate mollying off and nading that connector area, but they still have one more CT to deal with. Good spray from Ostrich off of that MAC-10, and now Antarctica, the last one left alive, on site, fighting for his life, and he misses all those deagle shots. And now the Joes win this train map. It was quite near to a sweep. We will catch you when the next map begins. Remember to buy the sponsored water off of ebay.com and our other sponsored products that we have here today. And we can only hope this time around this game is not going to be 9-0 as well, as the Joes versus Unorthodox seems to be heading in that direction. We can only hope the Joes starting on CT side though, so the Orthodox might be able to take some early possession of these rounds. Early possession of drop and early taking of drop is quite useful for, well, overall success, I've come to see. As if you have drop, you can parasite through the other two corridors and annoy the CTs by ADing around a corner. And that's what we saw last game as well. Some near comebacks have come from drop control and knowing where the CTs are going to hide in order to successfully evade them. And now we have Antarctica and Europe having to come up with this early pistol round win in order to gain some momentum on their side. We are starting this cobblestone game, game 2 of this Wingman 2v2 tournament. Antarctica and Europe taking separate positions in the map. Antarctica briefly hiding behind a wall and trying to challenge Sprite, but he just gets instantly killed by that P250. Europe with a P250 of his own, attempting to pick off Sprite from a long distance, but it's going to be hard for both of them to actually get any leverage against each other. Ostrich having to hide behind a corner himself to evade this T, and now both of the CTs are evading him out of his line of sight. Ostrich getting taken down to 32% of his HP, and yet he is going to rip him apart with that USP as the Joes taking another early round against Unorthodox. It's not looking good for them so far, and yet they have $2,500 to work with in this round. One Deagle and one MAC-10 coming in here from both of these players. They're going to do the split setup once again, which might be a little bit more useful. But that jumping MAG-7 once again gets him from the long distance, and Antarctica gets taken down himself. Man, the Joes just ripping through them this round as well. Ostrich and Sprite looking to get that 9-0 quite early. Unorthodox must be a little bit demoralized by that, and they're buying sawed-off shotguns this time around, which good drop strat rather, but they might go in the opposite direction. Double sawed-off action coming out here. Europe going to be challenging Sprite. Both of them going to be challenging Sprite, and yet Sprite almost takes out both of them as Antarctica with a quite even lower HP with that nade coming in, and Ostrich has to reposition on the other side of sight here. Antarctica trying to challenge that shotgun, but he ain't gonna be able to as that MAG-7 takes him out from long range. Now the Joes winning 3-0 against Unorthodox. Early leads coming out from the Joes here as Antarctica and Europe are back on their back foot. They are retreating just like Vimy Ridge, and we'll see what happens this round as well. T's trying to go for that double drop setup this time around. CTs have to hit all of their shots when they jump in here, and it looks like they're doing it. Europe takes him out from the top of the drop, though. Now the other CT has to predict where this T's going to go. Is he going to dedicate? Well, the bomb's down there, so he might have to. He's looking around, doesn't see anybody, but the CT got all the auditory cues, almost takes him out close range, but that M4 beats him out every single time as Antarctica and Europe back on their back foot once again. Unorthodox winning, or rather, sorry, losing 4-0 against the Joes. The economy was crippled as they didn't get many shotgun kills, and it doesn't look like they're going to be buying any guns in relation to what site, or rather what position they're rushing. They're both trying drop once again. Let's see if Ostrich can hold it. Beat that MP7 quite fast, and yet Europe uses an MP7 of his own. And 12 HP, that nade almost gets him, and now he's down to 11 HP. Took off 1 health. Trying to nail with the Asimov, misses all of his shots, and now Europe getting taken down once again. CTs with the deadly sight holds here, and yet T's are just deciding to rush drop every single time, and they are paying for it. Maybe they'll try a different strat this time around. We can only hope. And Ostrich doesn't get the action he's looking for this time around. It's Sprite's turn to clear the T side as... Oh, one of their peaks was unsuccessful, but Antarctica just recovers enough, but 28 HP against a fully armored and full HP M4 carrying Ostrich. Can he take him out? Antarctica, he might not be trying to clear this corner just yet, but he might have to. As his time is running out and the CT is starting to dedicate himself to one of these corners. Where is Antarctica going to come from? He's holding that corner as much as he can. He's holding it with dedication. Lags a little bit. Might be his fear or it might be his internet connection. I'm not too sure, but Antarctica just peeling around that corner, and now the CT is left in wait, wondering where this T is going to be coming from. Seems like he's going to be coming from drop here. He has to clear all of these angles. Little does he know, nobody's there. He's going to drop onto these barrels, makes a little bit of sound, but the CT isn't going to be there to hear it now. Antarctica clearing angle 1. Plat is clear, clearing rock. Nobody's there, and the CT just looks at him in time and takes him out. The Joes winning 6-0 against Unorthodox this time around. Unorthodox just cannot seem to break these CT's defenses, and they're going to have to try out something drastic here, and that's a drastic buy right there. Sawed-off shotgun coming from Antarctica. They mean business. He's going to be trying to throw a Molotov somewhere into the drop here, and he just throws it right into the middle, not blocking any CT from dropping in here. One T has definitely made it onto site, but it looks like the CTs have actually heard him this time around, and they're definitely going to hear that. They know the flash came from the other angle. Sees the CT hiding on top of the boost, and he's going to take him out. The Ts might have an advantage here, although the sawed-off coming from that distance isn't going to do much against Ostrich. Now the two Ts are pincering against the CT here, and he takes him out with an instant headshot. Europe taking Unorthodox's first round of this map. They might be taking a comeback here. I sure do hope so, because Unorthodox still maintaining that sawed-off AK setup since neither of them decided to die this time around. The split setup worked for them this time, as they seem to space out their attacks quite well. Sprite rushing that drop area. The Ts are none the wiser, although I think he heard something, and Sprite takes him out quite fast once he tries that flanking maneuver. It just didn't work out for him. There must have been some sound cue of him jumping up on top of there. Now they're both going to be rushing the plat area, but I don't think they've seen Ostrich hiding here yet, so they're just slow clearing this, trying to find any way that they can find out where the CT is. They might get a little bit too antsy on their footing. They are doing the slowest peek I've ever seen here, and they finally get into his vision. He is going to be toying with them here, decides to pull out his knife to try to get a cheeky kill, but it ain't going to work, as Antarctica almost could get him there, but the spray on Ostrich is just too tight. Similar score as last time, the Joes winning 7-1 going into this halftime round. Doesn't look too good for Unorthodox, although they might be able to salvage something going into this round. Can Antarctica and Europe pull this game back against the Joes? We are yet to see. Cobblestone is the type of map that a comeback like that can happen, although I haven't seen it thus yet in the tournament. Seems like teams can come back all the way to a tie, and yet their boost and their morale kind of falls apart near the end, but we will see with the Joes versus Unorthodox if that pattern is a little bit more different. And we are coming in here to the 7-1 halftime pistol round, and Antarctica and Europe get to decide where the engagements are going to happen, and they will decide where they want it to happen. One P250 coming out from Europe, and Antarctica just decides to buy nothing. He is saving up his money for something, but we have no idea what yet. Two double long rush here. And Antarctica, I don't know if they saw him run to chicken coop there, but they might have, as Antarctica is in a particularly difficult situation here. He gets pincered from both sides and gets shot from both sides as well. Europe left with his P250 against these two Ts, and he just can't connect any of these shots as Sprite and Ostrich take this match point round. Now Unorthodox against the wall, fighting for their lives. What are they going to do? In desperate times like these, you either go full conservative or full aggressive, and it looks like they're going full tactical, so that ruins my strategy. Ostrich buying in Negev here. Kind of a BM, but it's also not a BM at the same time, because he can suppress pretty good here, and Europe's teammate just drops like a fly now. He's getting pushed to 2 different locations here, and Negev just rips through his chest as he crouched and got that spray into a laser. Unorthodox loses 0-2 in this match 22 or 23. And that is the conclusion. Thank you all for watching. Remember to tune in to future games on the same Twitch channel. Follow, subscribe, donate your kidney.